Hi, it's Thad with Willoway. Talk a little bit about growing degree days. We use base 50, so that's what I talk about. And that's when we take, basically, there's a calculation to figure out degree days. Right now at Avon, we're at 21 degree days. As we go through the season, we'll talk about this every week in the clips. The importance of it is it helps track what potentially is going to be hatching in insects. So we kind of have a forecast. I'll tie a little phenology in it, so that's the stages of what plants are in. So you know, okay, if you see Spirea Van Hoody blooming in full bloom, these pests should be out in your garden, or in, you need to be looking for them. So that's the way we use to track what we need to spray, what we need to be scouting for. So really, we don't really get heavily started in that till we get to about 84 degree days. And we'll cover a little bit more next week in degree days and what to be looking for. Okay, we've moved over to another house of hydrangea. Talk a little bit about dormancy and protection. As you can see, some of these hydrangeas, we have not trimmed this house yet, but the buds are starting to come, and I wanted to show the difference. When you're tight bud like this, you still can get away with some of that colder temperature, but if you start to see the leaves coming like this, you're going to have to start protecting them. And the reason is because if you frost that, as that leaf emerges, it's going to look pretty tattered and ugly. It will grow out of it, but it will affect the saleability out the get-go. So when we trim these, we're just tipping back out through the edges and around the top here. Give it a nice light trim. We're going to get a lot of basil sprouting, and also some of this shoots will break again, and you'll get a fuller plant again, more compact. That helps with shipping, saleability at your locations, and also just a nice compact looking plant. So a couple other things to be watching for. We are having we've been about 7 to 10 days ahead here in Ohio, outside of Cleveland, of our normal temperatures. So we are a little slightly ahead of where we should be. So depending on where you're at in your region, you'll want to be kind of watching the weather in the extended forecast. After the next 2 nights, we're going to be in the upper 20s for temperatures. After that, the next 15 days look pretty good. We're going to be in the low 30s, above freezing though, for low nighttime temperatures. So we're going to have some warmer daytime temperatures, starting to get up in that 50 to 60 degree range and daytime highs. So that's going to bring a lot of these plants on very quickly. So just be aware of that and keeping the venting. And that's something else that we're working on too. As you can see, we have vents down the house here that are open. We're actually trying to keep these colder. Tonight we'll close them up, but like a lot of nights we've been leaving these open to take advantage of that little bit colder weather. The house has got some heat in it, so we're trying to kind of play a game of holding some of the crop back a little bit so it's not all ready at once, because obviously we're not going to sell every plant we have at once. Thank you. All right, I'm outside. They asked a little bit about what we're doing to prepare for the mid-20s tonight. We're predicted to get down to 27. I do worry a little bit and watch the overcast. If it's overcast and cloudy, generally the temperature stays pretty close to what they forecast. If it's clear out, you really want to watch. Sometimes we've dropped as much as 8 degrees off of what they forecast when it's clear. So we typically see here in Ohio about a 3 degrees sometimes. It's not always, sometimes it's right on, but if it's clear, I worry it could get colder. But some of the things that we're doing is we're closing up, like our hydrangea macrophylla, we're closing up all those houses tonight. We're closing up some of all of our forest stuff, and a number of other houses where we have some sensitive crops that are maybe like marginal, like we have figs that we're doing. Those would get closed up tonight. But tomorrow it's forecast to be clear and sunny. And the real importance of that is when we close these up, they build heat pretty quickly. So we'll open these back up for several hours tomorrow to make sure that we don't push the crop ahead. So we don't want to get it so it outgrows what the temperatures are doing. This is kind of one of this up and down game we play all spring here when you have plastic on the houses. So, hi, it's Thad with Willoway. I'm in our 3B greenhouse. It's one of our larger overwintering structures. We do have 4 zones here. This is just one of them. A couple things we want to talk about in this week's video is, one, we want to talk about plants that come in. We want to make sure that you're protecting them if they're out or have broken dormancy. Make sure you're getting some protection on them. That might be bringing them in, It might be putting some plastic over them, but watch your nighttime temperatures and the duration of that. So that will help you make sure that you're getting and taking care of the plants that you got in and you're not having problems with them or affecting their saleability. The other thing is we want to hold plants back in dormancy. As you can see behind me, we have a lot of roses that got leaves on them. We've kept these artificially warm all winter, so they've only went to a slight dormancy. So what we're doing too is right now we're getting these ready. These would be our Mother's Day crop, so we'll actually have these flowering by Mother's Day. We couldn't do that without bringing them out of dormancy early. But we want to trim them. The crew behind me is working on that. We've got a couple other things. They're basically pruning the top. They're getting about 70 to 80% of the pruning done with the mower, and then they'll just come along the edge with hand clippers, shears, and clean up the sides of the plant. If you got this type of plant in early, you would definitely have to protect it from getting below freezing, or you could have problems with the leaves.